Odds. The objective of this lesson is to be able to find the odds of a simple event. You can do this with me on graph paper if you wish. So on a piece of graph paper, copy the diagram shown at the right, shade squares of gray or black as shown. Let's create that diagram and create this square, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 by 6 square, and then shade these areas gray, these areas black, leave everything white. Okay, and if you probably have a pin, okay, hold a straight pin about 6 inches above the center of the diagram, drop the pin 50 times and record the color of the square where the point of the pin lands. If you miss the diagram, drop the pin again. Okay, so if you do this exercise 50 times, drop the pin 50 times. Let's answer the questions after you drop the pin 50 times. Would you say that the pin is more likely to land on the white square or the shaded square? Okay, if you notice, it will more likely land on the white square. Why? Because obviously there are more white squares than gray or black squares. Okay, how many ways can the point of the pin land on the black square? So all we need to do is count the number of black squares, and there are 9 ways. Okay, how many ways can the point of the pin not land on the gray square? That means it can land on the black square or the white square. Okay, and there are 9 black squares, and there are 18 white squares. So there are 27 ways that the pin can land on the gray square. Okay, so what is the importance of this? Let's find out. The probability that the point of the pin will land on the gray square is 9 over 36 or 1/4. Okay, the probability that the point of the pin will not land on the gray square is 27 over 36 or 3/4. Remember, when we talk about probability, okay, is the number of possible outcomes an event will occur. So you have these two probabilities. The probability will land on the black square is 9 over 36, and not on the gray square will be 27 over 36 or 3/4. Okay, well, we talked about probability, and let's discuss how it relates to odds. Another way to describe the chance of an event occurring is with odds. The odds in favor of an event is the ratio that compares the number of ways the event can occur to the ways the event cannot occur. Okay, so again, difference between probability is that in probability, it's the number of ways an event can occur over the total possible ways, total possible number of possible outcomes. So what did we learn in that example? Okay, we learned that the probability that the point of a pin will land on a gray square is 9 out of 36 or 1/4. Remember what probability is. And the probability of an event occurring is the ratio of the number of favorable outcomes to the number of total number of possible outcomes. Okay, and the probability that the point of the pin that will not land on the gray square is 27 out of 36. Again, total number of favorable outcomes in this case is 27. Okay, total number of possible outcomes is 36 or 3/4. Okay, but another way to describe the chance of an event occurring is what we call odds. The odds in favor of an event is the ratio that compares a number of ways the event can occur to the number of ways the event cannot occur. Okay, right now, right here and then, we know we can see the difference between probability and odds. Probability is the ratio of the number of favorable outcomes to the total number of possible outcomes. In odds, it's a ratio that compares the number of ways an event can occur to the number of ways an event cannot occur. Okay, so when you talk about odds, this is what we mean. The odds in favor of an outcome is the ratio of the number of ways the outcome can occur to the number of ways an outcome cannot occur. So, definition of odds in favor is equal to the number of successes to the number of failures. Odds against an outcome is the ratio of the number of ways the outcome cannot occur to the number of ways the outcome can occur. So odds against is equal to the number of failures to the number of successes. Let's go back to the difference again between odds and probability. We look at the ratio of probability, which is the number of favorable outcomes to the total number of possible outcomes. Remember, the total number of possible outcomes will be the sum of the number of successes and the number of failures. That is a big difference between the two. Unlike in odds, okay, you don't get the sum of number of successes to the number of failures in your denominator. You only get the number of failures. Okay, so that's a good way of differentiating odds and probability. Okay, let's take a look at this example, this one first. A bag contains 5 green marbles, 2 yellow marbles, and 3 blue marbles. What are the odds of drawing a green marble from the bag? Okay, let's find out what we know. There are 10 minus 5 or 5 marbles that are not green, because if you look at the total number of marbles in the bag, 5 plus 2 plus 3 will give you 10. So you have 10 marbles, subtract the 5 marbles which are not green, and will give you 5 marbles left. After which, okay, we want to find the odds of drawing a green marble. Okay, and we know for a fact that there are 5 green marbles, okay, and there are 5 non-green marbles. Therefore, the odds would be 1 to 1. You don't read this as 1 out of 1, because 1 out of 1 will sound more like a probability than odds. So when you read odds, it's always the word 2. So this is read as 1 to 1. The odds of drawing a green marble, okay, are 1 to 1. Let's take a look at example number 2. Sometimes when finding odds, you must first find the total number of possible outcomes. This can involve finding permutations and combinations, and that's what we did in the previous lessons. That in order to find, we learn how to find permutations and combinations, which is just one way of finding out the total number of possible outcomes for an event or for a series of events. Okay, the state of Florida has a fantasy 5 drawing 3 times in a week, which 5 numbers out of 39 are drawn at random. The proceeds from the lottery help to finance education in the state. What are the odds of winning in a fantasy 5 jackpot? First, we need to find the number of possible, okay, outcomes in this particular scenario. Okay, and if you notice, when you talk about 5 numbers, the 5 numbers do not have to be in order. Okay, so order is not important. You can find the odds using combinations, and we use the combination formula to find total possible number of outcomes. There's only one winning combination, so the number of ways to succeed is 1. Okay, but before we find the odds for that one, let's find out the number of possible combinations there are. If you are 5 numbers will win out of 39. So we are trying to find the combination of 39 things taken 5 at a time. Ways to draw 5 numbers from a group of 39. So the total possible outcomes is a combination of 39 things taken 5 at a time. Remember, recall what combination is. If you want to find the combination of 39 things taken 5 at a time, you basically get the permutation of 39 things taken 5 at a time all over 5 factorial. Okay? And if we solve for that, this now becomes 39 times 38 times 37 times 36 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 35. 5 numbers right there. All over 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. If you solve that, end up with this number. There are 575,757 possible combinations. This means that the total number of failures, if there's only one winning combination will be 575,757 minus 1, or 575,756, which brings us to the odds of winning. Okay, 5 correct numbers will be equal to the number of successes over the number of failures, and the number of successes we know is 1, and the number of failures is 575,756. So the odds will be 1 to 575,756. Okay, odds of winning a Fantasy 5 jackpot, 1 to 575,756. And this is just the Fantasy 5. Just imagine the lottery when you are asked to get 6 numbers correctly and a mega number. The odds of winning become smaller. Okay, and there was an analogy one time that it's easier to get struck by lightning 3 times in a row. The odds of getting struck by lightning 3 times in a row is greater than winning the lottery. Okay, so those are odds. Lessons done. On Google Forms, type a summary of what you've learned by responding to the objectives of the lesson, and type a question you might want to ask about this lesson. Thank you.